welcome to another episode of The Launchpad. My name is Grant Soffer, and today I'm with Alexis Perry, better known by her DJ name of Kleopatra. Kleopatra, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad we got a chance to sit down and talk and just learn a little bit more about you and your music and everything.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, of course. So first and foremost, I want to give you a chance to give a little introduction about yourself because I know who you are. A lot of fans of dubstep probably know who you are as well. But for those of us that haven't heard of Cleopatra before, who is Cleopatra? How did you get into music? What made you want to like go down the dubstep route? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I'm 27. I'm from California originally, but I've been living in Salt Lake City, Utah for about 12 years now. And then when I was younger, I took piano, clarinet, violin, and guitar lessons, and then just kind of lost interest in my early teens. And then in college, I made a bunch of friends in the industry that were throwing the Safe and Sound tour back in the day. And they would just
Okay.
always invite me to their shows. And then one day it just hit me that that's what I wanted to do. So I dropped out of the University of Utah and started going to music production school out here using Ableton.
Nice. How
Thanks.
do you remember like that exact moment where you kind of knew that like, okay, the typical like university route is not for me. I want to like pursue this passion and this dream of mine and go down like the music route. Was there like a specific moment or specific show that kind of made you feel that way, or was it just kind of like just kind of
Um,
hit you over like the series of couple weeks or something like that?
so like the moment that I figured out that I wanted to do this, I was actually in Vegas at EDC with those same friends.
Hmm.
They just had like a bunch of industry people at the house. I was like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. This is so cool. But as far as like traditional university, I always had the thought in the back of my mind, like, why am I going here? I don't want to redo math classes and all this random shit. None of this. I don't like any of this. I don't see why I need to learn it again.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
cool.
thanks.
So what made you, do you remember like what made you get into dubstep specifically? Because we talked a little bit like your type of music is definitely more on the dubstep side of things. You've obviously came out with some releases in other genres as well, which we'll get to and we'll talk about in depth a little bit more here. But what kind of made you want to pursue that route of going into dubstep?
Um, so I started off with Big Room House, and then I moved to Trap, and then it was like a very, very brief moment of time. I was actually in a duo, and we were making dubstep. And then when I left that,
Okay.
I just decided to continue it.
Now, what was that duo?
I don't even want to talk about it.
You don't even want to. Okay,
Embarrassing.
we don't
Yeah,
have
I
to
was
talk
only
about
in
it
it
then.
for like 3 months, so yeah.
And then you just kind of went and did your own thing after that.
Yeah, I was like, fuck that. I'm good.
Yeah, I don't blame you, especially if you're doing big things on your own. That's probably the smart move.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if like you're in a duo and you both work well together, but when you don't work well together and it's just
Ugh.
there was just like a lot of negativity all the time and I'm just like I'm not down. So
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, and that sounds like that's probably a lot more specific to like
yeah,
that particular situation because you've like come out with collaborations with other artists, and I think you've
yeah,
gone like back to back with other artists like in performances and things like that.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so clearly you are able to work with people on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What's that like for you? Like going back to back, like playing with people or like collaborating with people. Do you kind of prefer working with other people? Do you draw inspiration from them? Or is it kind of one of those things that you are kind of in the zone when you're either producing or DJing and you like to do that on your own?
DJing, I would definitely say I like we feed off of each other, at least the
Hmm.
times that I have gone back to back. As far as producing, it really just depends on the song. Some songs I like when they bounce me stems, it's just like done like that. And then other times I'm working on it for like a long period of time because I just can't really get in this groove as much.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So
No, yeah, definitely. What are there like specific artists or anything right now that kind of inspire you to make music?
Yeah, definitely. I would say the biggest one would be my friend Vulcan.
Okay.
We actually started a collab like a year and a half ago or something like that. And then we scrapped that one and then started another one. But I've just watched that kid progress so quickly, like just so quickly in the scene.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. He works so hard. He's such a good person. So
What's her name?
Vulcan, VLCN.
VLCN. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
he
Yeah,
just
we'll
played
definitely have to
Lost
check them out.
Lands. Yeah,
Nice. You played Lost Lands kind of recently too. I know you played in 2021 out there.
yeah.
How was that for you? I'm sure that was like a dream come true.
That one was just like an art car. It was like the Red
Yeah.
Bull art car, which was still really
Mhm.
cool. This year was a lot cooler because it was an actual stage. So,
Yeah. What was that like? Walk me through that experience for you.
yeah, I mean, it was a ton of fun. We played the pre-party stage. So the way they had pre-party this year, Wednesday and Thursday, there was a stage inside the campgrounds, and they did
Okay.
it there and then moved everyone inside the venue for like the massive back to back. So I played the village stage.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Nice. What was, do you remember like your first festival that you attended?
that I attended. I think it was, they don't even throw it anymore. It's called Audio Circus. It was
Oh,
out
okay,
here in
cool.
Salt Lake.
Mhm.
It was Infected Mushroom the first night and then Pretty Lights the second night. And I was like 16. It was like my first one. That was back when out here they would allow you to go to festivals at that
Mhm.
age if you had a parent sign you into the festival.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
obviously
Wow.
that would never fly today,
Yeah,
but
I don't think so. Damn, that's cool. Yeah,
thanks.
you got to go at 16. That's surreal. So yeah, okay. You've been like in the scene for quite a while then.
Yeah.
Right. So you've seen it like grow exponentially over the last several years then.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What are your thoughts on like the scene and where it's headed right now? Like in particular, like just the EDM and dubstep scene specifically, like where do you see the direction of the community kind of going from here?
Um, I mean, I honestly don't know. What I can comment on is like as far as like being an artist in the
Mhm.
scene, it's definitely changed a lot in the sense like they're more looking for social media numbers than they are talent, and that part kind of sucks in my opinion. And that's for the whole music
Mhm.
industry, not just EDM. Like there's people blowing up on TikTok that it's like their first song they ever made, but because
Yeah.
people like a 5 second clip of it, they're huge. And it's like that sucks for the rest of us that actually work for a long time, you know what I mean? But it is what
Yeah.
it is. So
That are like putting in that hard work and effort and not
right.
necessarily getting that same sort of recognition that they probably deserve kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something I've noticed kind of on the like media side of things as well. That's kind of a big deal. Like the social media presence is probably weighed a little more heavily than it probably should be, when we
Yeah.
should really just kind of be looking more so for like where the actual talent lies, regardless of like where their numbers are at, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. No, agreed.
Where okay, so like for you specifically, like where do you see yourself going from here? Like what's the like short-term and long-term goal for the Cleopatra project here?
Long term would be tour internationally. And then eventually at some point, like way down the road, I want to throw my own festivals. And then eventually, like once I'm doing that, I plan to donate a certain percentage to charities or like abuse victims, suicide awareness, cancer, stuff like that. So that's
Okay.
something that I'm big on. And I think a lot of people would really be into that because who doesn't know somebody like under one of those three? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
Are,
affects pretty much everybody. So
no, definitely. I saw that you played kind of recently. It was like last month or something. You played a show that was kind of centered around like mental health awareness.
yeah,
It had some, it was like depression, anxiety, mental health, and suicide or something like that was
yeah.
kind of the over. Did I get that right? You would know
Yeah,
better than I
depression,
do.
anxiety, mental health and yeah, suicide. I'm pretty sure is what it was. It was
Okay.
spelled
Yeah.
out dams. So
Yeah. Okay. That's how I remembered it there.
yeah.
But is that kind of like an important issue to you? Is that something that you feel pretty passionate about, like outside of music as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've had several friends commit suicide.
I'm sorry to
Um,
hear that.
couple people like in my family have died from cancer. I have friends that have died from cancer or have cancer. And then um, I mean, I know several people that are abuse victims. I myself was a physical abuse victim. So that's just
Sorry to
stuff that I
hear.
want to like try and help other people with, in
Well,
whatever
that's
way that I can.
and I think like through music, that's a beautiful way to reach people on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I had a pretty awesome conversation with another artist about something very similar to this as well, about how like they kind of struggled with a lot of the stuff that you mentioned there as well, and how they didn't want to let that kind of define who they were, and instead they wanted to let that kind of be their inspiration to reach other people to kind of help them through similar experiences that they might have. Because exactly like you said, like several people go through this. Like everyone probably knows somebody that has kind of
Yeah.
gone through something of what you mentioned there. So having a platform and having the ability to create music and reach tons of different people, it goes a long way for a lot of people, probably more than you even realize sometimes. So I will speak for everyone and say that we really appreciate what you're doing and how you're speaking to other people through your music, because it does mean a lot and it does reach a lot of people with that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Let's talk a little bit about like when you first got into making dubstep. Who were the artists that kind of inspired you when you first got in here?
Oh, Zed's dead all the way. They still are probably my biggest inspiration. I
The
just
boys
love the
right
fact
there.
what?
The boys right there. We love
Yeah.
them.
I love that like they don't only release dubstep, they just release whatever they feel like,
Yeah.
And I think that's great because a lot of artists nowadays, I think they feel like they're stuck making
Mhm.
just one genre, you know what I mean? Like what happened with Getter, for example, like that was sad. Like he
Yeah.
released an album of something different and people booed him. Like
Mhm.
that's fucked up. Like let him do what he
Yeah.
wants.
Yeah. And that probably makes them feel even more like, okay, well, now I really have to stick to what I was doing before
Yeah,
because my fans don't appreciate it. Versus
yeah,
like, okay, maybe some of my fans won't appreciate it, but I'm going to reach a whole new section or genre of fans that I didn't have before that are going to become fans of me because of my like variety of what I'm able to produce out here.
right.
But yeah, no, like Zed's Dead is a great example. You've played support for Zed's Dead before, actually, right?
I don't know if it would technically be called support. It was in the middle of COVID when everyone was
Mhm.
doing live streams and they had their Deadbeats house party live stream. I
Mhm.
played that.
I
So I don't know if that's really support or what,
I
but
mean, I would count it if it's an event that they're putting on, regardless of
yeah.
if it was like live stream in person. Because during COVID, those live stream sets were basically the closest thing to in-person sets that we could get
Oh yeah, that
during
was
that
all we were
time.
getting the whole time.
Yeah. What was COVID like for you? What was because everybody has like a different experience and different story when it
Yeah.
comes to COVID. Obviously, I saw you put out a ton of music like during that time.
Yeah.
Um, was that kind of your focus during COVID, was just to really like work on like getting music ready so that when shows did come back around, you were kind of ready to go with a lot of that?
Yeah, it also was actually pretty hard for me to stay motivated. And I honestly hated doing the live streams after a couple times because it's just
Mhm.
like I'm playing for a wall and a camera. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's still fun, but it's not the same as having a crowd in front of you vibing. You know what I
Eh,
mean?
or
So,
people to play off of, or
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a cabin fever
Mhm.
period of time for most people that I know because it's like everything's shut down. You can't even go to a restaurant. There's only so many places to go walk until you get bored of it. Like,
Yeah.
so,
What was kind of the thing that kept you motivated during that time? And I guess like right now, like what motivates you to make music?
um, one thing that helps keep me motivated is just thinking back to how far I've come and like why would I stop now? So
Yeah. No, I mean that's that's a great point right there.
yeah,
Uh, we kind of talked a little bit about like where you see yourself going and like eventually like playing more festivals, having your own festival, like playing charity events, all that kind of stuff. Is there like a dream festival for you that you would love to play at, like a dream stage or anything like that?
yeah, it would be Rampage in Belgium, and then Tomorrowland also would be super sick, and EDC.
That would be sick. EDC
Yeah,
Vegas.
yeah.
Was there like a specific stage that you see yourself fitting into more?
Uh, Probably Bass Pod.
Stage five. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
with
that
the dubstep kids.
with all the dubstep kids over there.
Yeah.
I could see it. I will start a petition to get you on the lineup for 2023 here.
Okay, bet.
We'll start it. What do you like to do outside of music? Like, where are your passions like outside of dubstep and the EDM scene here?
So my second love after music is actually snowboarding. I used to
Okay.
compete in snowboarding. I don't compete
Oh wow.
anymore. I've had two knee surgeries and like a bunch of other injuries from when I was competing in snowboarding, and it just took the fun out of it for me too.
Yeah.
But I still ride. I still love to ride. So
Snowboarding's so much fun. Well, we're
yeah,
based out of Arizona in Phoenix, so we don't get the luxury of just being able to like go into the mountains and go snowboarding or anything like that.
yeah,
But anytime I visit like Utah, Colorado, or even like Flagstaff down here, it's always like one of the first things I want to do because it's literally so much fun. I love that
yeah.
you
It
used to
is.
like do that competitive. That's so cool.
Thank you.
If you were not a DJ or a producer right now, what do you think you would be doing as like your full-time job?
Honestly, I don't have an answer for that because
Hmm.
I only have a plan A. My mom used to ask me what my plan B was all the time when I
Hmm.
first started this, and I'm like, that's the point. There is no plan
Yeah,
B. There's only plan A.
yeah, because then that gives
So
you something to fall back on.
yeah, and like I've tried thinking about what else I would want to do, and there's literally nothing else that I have this much interest or passion in. So I have to make it work.
I love that. Yeah, no, I'm really big on you should do whatever you're passionate about, like especially when it comes to your work and how you're gonna make your living and like pay for things because that's probably what you're gonna dedicate the majority of your time to. So might as well be something that you genuinely enjoy doing and something you are actually very, very passionate about. So I like
Yeah,
that answer a
exactly.
lot.
Thank you.
Okay, one last question for you. Or actually a couple more questions. I'm sorry.
Okay.
What can we expect next from Cleopatra? Do you have like upcoming shows or any other big releases coming out? You just came out with a release which was kind of different from what your previous releases have been, a bass house song. Tell me a little bit about what it was like um, making that.
So yeah, I was working on a heavy dubstep track that day. And I wasn't really feeling anything that I was making out of it. So I
Mhm.
was like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna mess around and make house because I've always loved house, especially G house and bass house. I just think it's like such a cool vibe. So yeah, I started that and I actually finished it in less than 24 hours, start to finish.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually really, really impressive because I had the opposite thought when I was listening to that song. Because I was playing your music like all throughout work today. And when that song came on, obviously very, very different from all your other songs. So I had to like
Yeah.
double check my Spotify real quick. Be like, whoa, whoa, am I still on her music? And sure enough, I was. And I listened to it and just thought about like how good that song was and how much time you probably spent like crafting that and making that. Shows how little I know about music production, I guess, considering you just put that together in a 24-hour span right there.
Yeah, I mean, it just completely depends on the song for me, to be honest, because sometimes like some of my best songs are done in like less than 24 hours, and then sometimes I'm working on them for like 3 weeks before I get it to where
Hmm.
I want. yeah, it just, I don't know, sometimes it flows out of me, sometimes it doesn't. So
Yeah, interesting. That's cool to know. So what can we expect next? You said you have another release coming up in the next month or so.
yeah, next month, I'm gonna drop my last song of the year. It's a heavy dubstep one. I have my good homie G the Shep on vocals again. And then I've got a bunch of new stuff I'll be dropping next year. Bunch of collabs with people, some originals again. So
Nice. You got a whole calendar booked out of what everything's planning on being released and everything.
uh not quite, but yeah.
Figure something out.
Yeah.
Cool. Any what's like the next show or festival that's on your radar here that you'll be playing where people can come see you at?
The next show will be at TK Lounge in Tampa, Florida on December 1st.
Nice. Have you played out there before?
Not in Tampa, no. I've played in Orlando twice. Yeah.
Cool. That should be fun. Oh, I was gonna ask this earlier. What's like if you can say this, what is the coolest venue that you have ever played at?
Uh Non-festival wise, I would have to go with Iris in Atlanta because it's like an old cathedral and they turned the inside into a nightclub and it's really cool because the outside looks super
Interesting.
old and kind of like dilapidated or something. And then you go inside and it's like all nice and LED screens and lasers and shit. It's really
That's
cool.
so cool.
And
What
every
in
time I
Atlanta?
play there, it's like packed out and the crowd is rowdy. So
Atlanta?
yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Maybe I got to plan a trip out to Atlanta to go see what that's all about.
Yeah, that club's awesome.
I'm trying to make a every interview I do, I try to get a list of all these cool venues you guys talk about so I can like eventually make a trip just to go see every single one of these venues
Yeah.
because the way you guys are describing some of these those sound really cool. Like in a cathedral sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Cool. All right. Well, one thing we like to practice here at Moon Landing is gratitude and just being thankful for all the opportunities and blessings that we have in our life, both in music and outside of music. So, with that, what are some things that you are thankful for?
I'm thankful for all the people that support me. I'm thankful for my manager and my good friend. And now she just became my agent. Her name's Eva. I've actually known her for 12 years. Thankful for you guys. Thankful for all the labels I've released on, all the shows I get booked for. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, there's a lot to be thankful for. Well, we're thankful for you, and we're thankful that you're putting out some awesome music that's speaking to a lot of people. And we're thankful that we got the chance to sit down and talk with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. Anything else that you would like our listeners to know about you, or anything you want to shout out before we wrap it up here?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, with that, this has been another episode of The Launchpad. My name is Grant Soffer, and we'll see y'all next time.
I'll be coming up hot for a minute.